Hey guys, this is Frozen Tastiest here, and welcome back to another video. And once again, y'all, I'm gonna be doing another movie review series on my channel, a marathon where I review all the older movies of this respective franchise, leading up to a new upcoming movie that's about to come out. And this time, y'all, I'm gonna be talking about the Spider-Man movies leading up to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I think you probably saw us coming because I just posted a video of me watching this movie right here, and I said in the description I'm going to be talking about all the Spider-Man movies leading up to Across the Spider-Verse. I'll talk more details about it before I wrap up this review. But for now, let's talk about the movie that I'm going to be reviewing right now, which is of course the original Spider-Man movie. So Spider-Man came out in the year 2002 and is directed by Sam Raimi, one of the greatest comic book directors of all time, and stars Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, William Dafoe, James Franco, Cliff Robertson, Rosemary Harris, J.K. Simmons, Joe Manganiello, etc. Oh yeah, also Bruce Campbell and Elizabeth Banks are also in this one. So basically, the plot for Spider-Man tells the origin story of Peter Parker, who got bitten by a radioactive spider. And he's essentially a shy teenager who basically is in love with Mary Jane Watson and is in Mary Jane Watson and he becomes hero and and then you got Norman Osborn, this millionaire who has a business called Oscar, but wants to take over Spider-Man using the Green Goblin's thanks to Green Goblin's temptation. So Spider-Man now must fight his first foe, Green Goblin. So Spider-Man is a movie that I grew up with. This and Spider-Man 2 are probably the first superheroes I ever saw in my life because Spider-Man is probably the first superhero I've ever heard of. Yeah, he was a huge part of my childhood because yeah, you all probably know how much Spider-Man means a lot to me. I always love Spider-Man. He's probably my favorite superhero, and although my personal favorite variant is Gwen Stacy, aka Spider Gwen, or rather should I call her now Ghost Spider? Yeah, I heard Lily Cross the Spider-Verse. Yeah, while she's my true favorite superhero, it's either her or Kate Bishop. Technically, Kate Bishop is my hero. Spider-Man is always a hero that really means a lot to me. Spider-Man is a movie that really means a lot to me, and it's always been there with me since my childhood. So I remember my dad showing this movie to me, introducing this movie to me for the first time, and I absolutely fell in love with it. But I think Spider-Man 2 is what I really fell in love with the most when it comes to like the two Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 3, I didn't really like that much because it was too scary and I never really liked it. That's another story for another day. But yeah, Spider-Man is an absolute classic. Now I think we all know about the origin story of Spider-Man. He gets bitten by a radioactive spider. He has a love interest. Technically, in the comics, he has a lot of love interests. You got Gwen Stacy, you got Black Cat, you got so many others. Even Kitty Pryde from X Men. By the way, Kitty Pryde is my X-Men crush. I never said that first. I never thought about it for some reason. But maybe one day I'll rewatch the X-Men movies. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, but usually Spider-Man's true love is Mary Jane. Personally, Gwen Stacy is my favorite Spider-Man's love interest, but Mary Jane is the OG love interest of Peter, and yeah, and then Spider-Man also has these classic villains. Yeah, Spider-Man is a classic superhero, and yeah, Spider-Man's a classic superhero, and this is often regarded as one of the most iconic superhero movies of all time. Like this is basically the Superman 1978 of Marvel movies. So yeah, I've rewatched this movie tons of times. Like this movie is just so rewatchable ever since childhood. Although I rewatched Spider-Man 2 more than this, unsurprisingly, I think Spider-Man 2 is better than Spider-Man 1. But yeah, this movie is just a classic, and I can't really forget about this movie right here. So yeah, now that I've actually rewatched it with this for this review, let's talk about my thoughts on it. Yeah, So yeah, honestly, I don't have. I will say that I don't have a lot to say about this movie because this movie, I mean, it's just a very simple origin story, an origin story that's been well known, and we all know why we love Spider-Man, especially this movie in particular. So I won't take a lot of time here. So yeah, I hope I stay true to what I say because usually in my past reviews I keep saying, oh, I'm gonna be short here, but actually but actually I take a really long time, but whatever. Let's just get this review going. So yeah, Spider-Man definitely holds up as an absolute classic. This is one of my favorite movies of 2002. I would say it's rather top two or top three. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure where I put this in my ranking, but it's definitely right there. I would say Spirited Away is by far the best movie of 2002, but Spider-Man is somewhere there. Like, it's between this and Lilo and Stitch, and this and Lilo and Stitch are competing. But I would say this is definitely the best live action movie of the year, 2002, even over the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Despite a Lord of the Rings movie came out that year, there were better movies in 2002, and Spider-Man is certainly one of those. Yeah, I absolutely love this movie, and it has always been there in me since my childhood. I always mention that, but yeah, I think Spider-Man easily has the greatest origin story ever told. Like this very simple origin story of Peter Parker getting bitten by a spider, becoming Spider-Man, like getting web-like powers, and also learning that with true power comes with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, Peter trying to learn what it means to be a hero after becoming Spider-Man. That's some classic stuff right there, and you really can't certainly can't underestimate that classics. And with this movie, you can clearly tell that Sam Raimi does have a passion for superheroes, for Spider-Man in general. I mean, Sam Raimi really made this movie with love. He made this movie as a love letter to Spider-Man fans in that generation to make a movie that's just so special. This is movies, as much as I really like, as much as I love Superman 1978, this is basically the better version of Superman 1978. In my personal opinion, yeah, as much of a classic that movie is, that I mean, Superman 1978 is what started the superhero genre. I mean the term superhero blockbusters. Yeah, that I'm sure there are some superhero movies before Superman the movie, but Superman is probably what made the genre, the superhero genre, the comic book movie genre what it is today, and you really can't underestimate that. And yeah, I think Tobey Maguire is such a perfect Peter Parker, and I think Peter Parker's arc in this movie is just well plain simple, but really good. I mean, you really care about him. You really relate to Peter Parker. His like they make him as relatable as possible, and it just works. And Tobey Maguire, I know everyone says that Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man. I mean, I will say that as Spider-Man, as the I've seen Spider-Man, I don't know between him and Andrew. I mean, Toby's the OG, so he's probably the one I respect the most. But Tom Holland is the best actor to me, in my opinion. Like I think the MCU has the best Peter Parker. Well, Peter Parker himself, I would say Tom Holland's the best. But when it comes to him with this web slinging mask, as the web slinging Spider-Man, I will admit though, he's not as good as Tobey and Andrew when it comes to wearing the to putting on the Spider-Man mask. I mean, he's not even Tom Holland's Spider-Man is not even good at keeping secrets. He's just like it's kind of awkward. But when it comes to him as Peter Parker, yeah, that's probably his strongest point in my opinion. But I mean, as Peter Parker himself, I mean, Tobey Maguire is also amazing. He gives such a really good performance, a really compelling performance as that and and you really care about him so much, and you really care about his struggles and his journey from becoming an ordinary shy teen boy to a superhero. And yeah, and one of my favorite scenes in the film is Uncle Ben's death. Like it's just Uncle Ben's death is just so powerful, and seeing like Peter Parker like break down into tears, just break down. seeing his mourning for his uncle Ben's loss, just really good. And what else can I say? Oh yeah, also there's Aunt May who is really good in this. Really good in this. I think she's a little too old, but I don't know. Maybe Aunt May's supposed to be old, but MC Aunt May is easily my favorite Aunt May. I don't care what anyone says. I don't know why people hate on. I mean, seriously, people hate on Tom Holland's Aunt May just because she's hot, but who cares? I mean, really like Marissa Tomei in my opinion. But yeah, yeah, Aunt May is also really good as well. I think the acting is the acting is just really strong for a character like her. And then there is Mary Jane Watson. Honestly, guys, I think Mary Jane is overhated. Yes, I will admit, I prefer Emma Stone's Gwen. I prefer Gwen over MJ. I mean, I prefer Emma Stone's I prefer Emma Stone's Gwen better than this MJ Mary Jane Watson. But I mean, come on, people. Like, why do you all like hate her so much? Like, yeah, sure, she may be rude. I mean, in the sequels, I mean, maybe there's something about her. I mean, I'll admit I don't like her in Spider-Man 3, but I mean, I'll probably see why she does what she does and why people dislike her so much. And when I rewatch Spider-Man 2, which I'm actually going to rewatch right after I upload this review. But yeah, but in this one, Mary Jane is really good. Maybe the best Mary Jane in my opinion. Maybe this movie right here has the best Mary Jane in my opinion. But I'm personally a defender of Mary Jane. She doesn't deserve the hate, but then again, I stand by preferring Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy um over Kirsten Dunst Mary Jane Watson. I mean and yeah, I mean her acting is really good as well. Harry Osborn, I mean, is also amazing. James Franco gives his best performance in my opinion. I mean, as much as he's amazing in Disaster Artist, like he gives an Oscar-worthy performance, I think James Franco's signature role will always be Harry Osborn, and this is the only good Harry Osborn in my opinion, because Tassin's Harry is also hard. Because the Harry Osborn and Amazing Spider-Man 2, can't stand them. I can't stand them. I can't stand that Tassin Dane DeHaan Harry Osborn. So yeah, yeah, James Franco is really good, especially in the end when he says, "Oh, I want to avenge my father's death." Like really angry, powerful actor right here, and he'll just get better from there. Well, with Spider-Man 2. And then there is the villain of the movie, Green Goblin. To me personally, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is the standout of the movie. Yeah, I mean Norman Osborn like really giving like such great and iconic lines. Yeah, sure, you got the iconic, with great power comes great responsibility line from Uncle Ben, but but when it comes to Green Goblin, I mean, he most of the iconic lines come from him. The most memorable lines, like, I'm something of a scientist myself, and also, you know how much I sacrificed. And I feel bad for Norman Osborn. I don't think he's a villain. I don't think he's a bad guy. He's just tempted by the Green Goblin. But when he's not tempted, I mean, the Green Goblin basically brainwashes him to be a bad guy, to join him. I mean, the Green Goblin is the bad guy, I mean, he's such a master manipulator, and Norman Osborn really falls for it. And yeah, Willem Dafoe, I'm not sure if I would call this his best performance, well, technically fine, yes, it is his best role, but then he has roles like The Lighthouse. Maybe role wise, yeah, this is his best and most well known role to me. But yeah, Norman Osborn is by far to me the MVP of the movie, the standout. I do prefer Doc Ock over Green Goblin to be. I mean, Doc Ock is the best villain in the Raimi trilogy, but Green Goblin is amazing in this movie, and and he gets better from here when he comes back to Spider-Man No Way Home. Like he gets a lot better from there. I will say that the movie is a little cheesy and outdated. Technically, as this movie it is basically the Superman 1970 of Marvel. Of course, there'll be some noticeably cheesy and outdated stuff, cheesy nowadays stuff. And actually rethinking about it, I think this might be my fourth favorite movie, 2002. I would say I actually prefer Little Stitch and Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers over this one. Like, but Spirited Away will always be my favorite movie of 2002. But I think the outdated stuff here is really. I mean the outdated stuff here does not matter. I don't say that the action is the weakest aspect of the film, but the weakest thing. But it still has really good action scenes. So yeah, I mean, I understand why this movie is outdated because it came out 2002, but the outdated stuff but totally does not affect the movie at all, in my opinion. I think it can easily be ignored, although it's still a nitpick either way. I have to like mention that. So overall, Spider-Man 2002 is an absolute classic. This movie is has probably one of the best origin stories ever told. No, it's not the best. Now I will say that there are better origin story movies. Joker 2019 is my favorite origin story movie. And like movie like about an origin story, and Batman Begins is better too. But when it comes to origin stories, like how it was told, not I mean, Joker and Batman Begins. I only say that Joker and Batman Begins being the best origin story movies. I only say that as movies on their own. But when it comes to telling an origin story, Spider-Man just takes the cake for the best one. Not just in the movies, but the comics and the hero itself in general. I mean, you can clearly see Stan Lee and Sam Raimi's passion into making a Spider-Man, into developing this character. And yeah, this movie has a really good story, really relatable main character Peter Parker, and Harry and Norman Osborn being the MVP of the movie. So yeah, with that said, guys, I'm gonna give Spider-Man 2002 a 10 out of 10. So also for my review of Spider-Man 2002, what is your opinion of this movie? Is this your favorite Spider-Man movie, or do you think there are better Spider-Man movies than this? Because to me personally, there are better Spider-Man movies than this, including the next Spider-Man movie review. So yeah, comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review of Spider-Man 2. Bye guys.